Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, 12 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. And our next conversation, we're focusing on the Tobago Chamber's response to the THA's budget expectations. This comes, of course, prior to the budget debate that continues this morning at 10 a.m. Joining us is Curtis Williams, the chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Good morning, Curtis, and welcome back.
Hi, good morning to your viewers and listeners. It's a pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us on this show. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get straight into it. What would you say is the Chamber's overall impression of the THA's proposed $3.71 billion fiscal package?
Well, I sat in the House throughout this statement, the budget statement, when the Finance Secretary, that's a maiden statement. It's the first time as Finance Secretary, she laid that statement into the House. And we would definitely say that it was really, really well placed and well put together. We give her a passing grade. We at the Tobago Division, we pull a couple of things out of her statement, which gears towards the SME. And those things were a conversation we had with the Tobago House of Assembly then, Chief Sec, who was the Finance Secretary at the time. And for the last couple of years, we have been talking about a loan program, a THA guarantee loan program. And we have seen that this have come to fruition, and we are pleased about it. That loan program will assist the SME coming out of COVID. We had a couple of businesses that were having working capital challenges, and facing the bank was really challenging for them, knowing the fact that they did not have the security or the collateral to go towards the bank. And so we asked for this program. The program now is implemented. It was launched, and we are happy about it. And it will really assist the small businesses in Tobago accessing finance from the financial institution, knowing that the THA will back them with a guarantee. So that was one of the main things that pulled out. There was another one that was really outstanding, which is the formation of the Tobago Development Fund. It's supposed to be Tobago Development Bank, but because of our regulation problems, they have to name it the Tobago Development Fund. That fund, the idea behind that fund, or that company that they formed, it was to put business in move business from one level to the next, which is a scaling up business. So they have a business that needs some sort of scaling up, and they were wondering how they will attract funds in a development stage. And there were two entities that would fall under the Division of Finance, which was the BDU, Business Development Unit, and the Venture Capital. So what the THA did, they merged these two entities into one. So now you have the development fund that will be able to give business on the island loans in a development manner. Equity, they can buy equity into your business, and that was a venture capital model where you now go and buy shares into a business, and you big up the business, you scale up the business, and make the business move to a better or a bigger stage. For instance, if you have a small hotel and you only had 10 rooms, and you wanted to add 15 rooms, and you can't seek financing, so you were able to say, okay, THA, my hotel is doing good. Come and take some shares in my hotel. Give me some equity financing, maybe $1 million or $2 million, and I can put on the extra 5 rooms. I can add on the dining room, and I can add on the office, and I can add on the kitchen, and that will put my business in a really meaningful way. So we are happy about those things coming out from the budget highlight that will really geared towards SME.
Okay, Curtis, so before we get back into the conversation of the SMEs, because there's a lot to unpack there, let's stay on the Tobago Development Fund. What criteria is the Chamber going to use to judge the success of it? Do you have anything already in place or thoughts in place?
Well, it was mentioned to us that the Development Fund will kick off from January. The company is already formulated, and it will kick off from January next year. What happening now, the loan guarantee program is the one that's going to start within the next couple of weeks. And the banks, I think it's Republic Bank and FCB and Scotiabank are on board, and they will be the one facilitating the loan guarantee program. And we are the business community. We are all excited. Yesterday we had a meeting, and it was overwhelmed. All our chairs were full, and there were a lot of business on the island and that willing to take advantage of this loan guarantee program. In that room, we had people with a system. We had accountants in the room. We had the bankers themselves were in the room. Some of the business officers were in the room. So all who had issues with their business, those who didn't have the financial in some proper order, the accountant will be able to assist them in putting that in order, give them that cash flow projection, because you need to have a cash flow projection for a 3-year period, and all the other aspects of it, regulatory things that you may need to do. Make sure you're paying your taxes, which is important. Make sure you're paying your taxes. Make sure you're paying your NIS and your VAT and all the other taxes. Now, if you don't have these things up to date, you can get into a payment plan with the government to get these things up to scratch. So we were all excited yesterday. The secretary herself was there with us, speaking to the business community and other stakeholders in the room. And everybody left there very, very comfortable. And I know starting from probably next week when they do roll out the program, you will have so much applications coming in from Tobago because everyone is excited and really want to take a shot at this.
Now, aside from the loan guarantee for the SMEs, which is 12 million, if I'm not mistaken, what other mechanisms can be put in place to ensure that there is some growth rather? So, for example, maybe training, mentorship, and so forth.
Well, and then you mentioned that it was mentioned in the budget package that the Tobago division would be paying with the THA, Division of Finance, in assisting business in the mentorship and the education aspect of it. We are due to sign an MOU with the Tobago Assembly to gear towards assisting business, moving them forward, the mentorship. So it's not a fair fact of them. They're getting all this money and all these things, but they are business who just missing that fundamental part of moving the business to our next level, which is probably the marketing aspect of it, probably the financial aspect of it, just knowing how to price themselves, just understanding customer service. So those things are what the THA, Division of Finance, will partner with the chamber. We have our business advisory services, and we will definitely assist all those small businesses around the island, because everyone complains about the customer service of the business. Everyone complains about the pricing. Why the prices are so high? They don't understand how to do the pricing. They don't understand customer service, and it's not you're serving someone, and that's the heartbeat of your business. So those are some of the programs that we're looking to launch under the chamber to assist business in the space so far.
What about enhanced corporate governance requirements? Will these help Tobago businesses grow, and if so, how?
Excellent. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That was one of the biggest topics we had, speaking about business not understanding how it's important to have, especially companies, a proper board, and how to have shares being issued, and how to be paying the taxes and getting the governance structure in place, beneficial owner interest, and even demonstrating these things on paper. The banks ask for these items, and it must be something that you must understand, that you must have board meetings, you must keep minutes, and you have to appoint a secretary, you have to appoint a chairman within your business, and that whole governance aspect of the business, the corporate governance, is so important. It's a real big thing now. We're going because we're looking at anti-money laundering and systems, and we know what happens within business. So it's important that small business understand that corporate governance is important in the way they do their business on the island.
Curtis, also, let's go to some of the different sectors. Some that keen attention would have been paid to would have been agriculture, tourism, and fishing also. Which sector, in the Chamber's opinion, needs the most attention right now?
Agriculture. We understand that the food import bill is extremely high, and that push inflation. So in order to reduce the food import bill, we need to start growing food. So it's important that Tobago look at that. She spoke about some mega farms throughout the island. We're watching the mega farm model in Trinidad and see how best we could piggyback on it if that model works well for Tobago, because Tobago farmers are doing the farming part-time, probably when they get home from their normal work, and not farming as this is a career. And so we want to ask the farmers in Tobago to develop it into a career. We want to make the farming look sexy so that the folks coming out of school could say, well, hey, I could be a farmer. I don't have to wear dirty clothes. I don't have to have my fingernails all black and dirty. I don't have to wear straw hats. I can be a farmer dressed just like me, and you're doing farming. Farming could become mechanized now, so that a lot could be done on farming that you never thought of before. So we're looking at that model, but we know for sure that the farming must go towards the various villages across the island. So when you're developing farming, we must say, for instance, out of Charleville, we know Charleville is very good for dasheen, so we can have over 1,000 heads of dasheen coming out from there on a weekly basis, as the case may be. We look at another city, we look at Speyside. Speyside may be good for pigeon peas, so we can have pigeon peas coming out there by the thousands, by the bags. And those are the kind of farming we're looking for the island. The mega farming model, as I said, we have to look at it closely to see if it can really work for us, but we can look at the community farming in a meaningful way from the various villages or the various areas producing crops that could really push and bring our food import bill down. She mentioned that she was going to give this area $139 million investment, and then she even mentioned the agro processors, which is something we really want to push. We want to push the processors on the island. We had some conversation with them last year, and most of them will have challenges with the packaging, the labeling, and then to get the product out. And so we are pushing to make sure that the standard of labeling and packaging reach international level, where you can have the nutritional facts on the product. So most of the time, the producers, the agro producers, don't understand it's important that your labeling have to be of a standard that when you go to export, it can go in the export market. Testing has become a big challenge in Tobago in terms of testing your product. Because we don't have Caribbean here. So we're now trying to see if we could develop a testing lab in Tobago so that your product could be tested in Tobago, so your product can last on the shelf. You're going to have a shelf life, you'll have an expiry date written on the product. So you just don't have a product there, no expiry date, no nutrition facts, we don't know what's inside there, and you know there's a lot of folks with allergy and other stuff. So it's important that your product reach that international level. And I know the THA is working hard with the agro processors, with the central government, to get that going on, because that is very, very important for agro processors.
All right, Curtis, so let's go across to what you would have mentioned a little bit earlier, which would have been the situation of debts and the THA particularly. How important is it for the THA to clear debts, such as those that are owed from, let's say, the oil spill or even from COVID-19 debt?
Well, I'm so happy, as you mentioned it, in my conversation a couple of days with the secretary. Their plan is in trail to treat with it. And I think the small contractors from the oil spill have been dealt with. Most of them have been dealt with, and it's just probably a few now for them to pay off. Even the fisher folk, I went yesterday to get some fish, and the young man was telling me that the THA, although the THA wasn't the one to give you full compensation, it was through the fund, the insurance policy that they have. But in the meantime, the THA did give them something, and he showed me a copy of a check, and I was warmed by that kind of figure he had on his check, and said I best to get into fishing. But they did get some compensation, so we want to say kudos to the guys and them. They did get some compensation, so we know the Division of Food Security and the Division of Finance did assist as much to clear the debts that they had, and they continue with that. So the fisher folks has been taken care of, and the oil spill contractors, the small ones in Tobago that was lingering for some time, they did come out and meet us halfway, and they did start paying those bills. So I must say that they did listen to us, and those bills are being settled. The other liabilities that we're treating with, which would be the contractor's liability, which is a huge one, we will have to look at what's happening in the national budget as to how that meaningful funding that they could get out of this one could assist in that way, because those bills are big. Those are the millions, the $100 millions of dollars bills that they have to treat with.
Would the digitalization of accounting and procurement assist when it comes to that, especially with local businesses?
And I was happy to see, yes, it is definitely will help. You'll get your payments faster. And a couple of divisions have been working with it, with the ACH. And I must say that I'm a recipient of that service. And I see it works really, really good. Within 24 hours, you have the money in your account, in your business account, once everything is equal. So I think that's a good way. I like the way of they're procuring now. They're doing it online. It's a bit more transparent. We can see a bit of transparency in the way THA is doing business in Tobago. Even the part where she mentioned that the THA accounts are up to date. That is something that we try all years, trying to get the THA to be transparent and have some sort of integrity in the accounting. And I'm seeing that now. I'm happy to know that the finance secretary indicated to us that the THA accounts at the end of this year will be all up to date and audited and will be publicized. So those are things that if the THA continue on that threshold, on that working path, I think they will be heading in a good direction in terms of the business committee understanding what's happening in the THA and be able to seek by the accounts and everything being audited and publicized.
Curtis, another continued point of conversation, of course, has been autonomy, specifically in Tobago. Do you think the THA's budget specifically addresses that call for greater constitutional or fiscal autonomy?
Well, she did hint part of it. It is important that we understand. And a case in point, the town and country planning, a couple of my colleagues had development projects on the island. And to get approvals from town and country planning right here in Tobago, it will take you some time. And when I say time, months, sometime into years. So it is important that we understand how just a simple thing like town and country planning approval for certain things that takes I want to say forever, it takes a very long time in development. So we are happy to know that autonomy will drive those kind of things. There's some low-hanging fruits that we indicated, the town and country planning. We're talking about the registration of legal affairs, registration of birth and death, and those things have been in the work. And I think those are the low-hanging fruits, and I think they can give the THA some more bite in that area, and that we can get these things processing on the island.
Curtis, what reporting mechanisms would you like to see the THA share to keep businesses informed of what's going on?
But our biggest thing, and we will always talk about it, is tourism. And no two ways I cannot come here and don't talk about tourism. I see there's a plant, there's a new terminal building that is there. I like the THA to get, and the central government and the THA to get that terminal building open as soon as possible. We spoke about direct airlift coming into the space. I want that to be a conversation on the front burner of everyone lives on the island. We must get the direct flights inside Tobago. We must get the airlift inside. We must have these plants open and ready. There's some development in the making. There are three major projects that the Chief Sec mentioned, which is the Marriott Hotel, the Hilton, and also the Sanders. Those are three projects. There two. One is actually on its way, happening in the east of Tobago. That's a niche market they're going to develop in Tobago, in Roxbury, in Tobago. It's a huge property and beautiful villas, niche tourism. That's a high-end type of tourism that will be really good for the east of Tobago, which is an undeveloped area of Tobago. Now we're going to see a lot of development happening in the east. We spoke about the Marriott project, and that was going to be in the Mount Irving area. And we're hoping, I know the consultation is coming up, and I wish the Superior Hotels all the best in the consultation. I'm going to be there. My team is going to be there. We're going to give all our ideas. We're going to give all our suggestions because we need the hotel plants. We need the rooms. We need the high-end rooms. It's the only way we will survive starting with the tourism product by having high-end rooms and quality accommodation on the island.
Okay, Curtis, unfortunately we ran out of time, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you as always. Have a great day.
Take care, and you too. Bye-bye.
Curtis Williams, Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, speaking to us about their critique of the response to the THA's budget expectations. Stay tuned. There's more coming up after this break.